other aspect, something that you mentioned, also really good distinction and awareness. You mentioned and itemized two different kinds of using your awareness, using your mind. You mentioned just following your breath. That's more of a passive mind. And having your breath go all the way down to the pelvic floor. So very correct. As you said, those are two different ways of using your mind. So the mind has two basic qualities, two basic capacities. One is awareness and one is intention. Or one is awareness, one is focus. That's yin and yang. They're very, very different. And we want to develop both. So the mind is either open and aware or focused and strong. Here's a simple example. So generally, when you have more of one, you have less of the other. So if you are focused on reading a really intense novel, you're really into this novel, and you can have a friend or spouse or someone in your house walk into the room, grab a drink of water, what have you, walk back out of the room, and you don't even notice. So you're aware, you've lost some of that awareness because your focus is so strong. So just to talk about the yin and yang nature of it, you have a lot of one, you lose some of the other. If you go into complete awareness and you're aware of the whole space of the room or the whole space, if you're outside in the field, you're not focused as strongly on a particular one thing at a time. So just to talk about that, the difference in the yin and the yang, so that open spaciousness is one quality of mind, and a very bullet-like narrow focus is another quality of mind. We want to develop both.
I think I'm landing in the middle because for me, it was the quality of the movement, kind of running all over madly, jerky, compared to like a wave-like quality of expanding the distance. Anyway, I'm still working on the basics enough that I'd like to hold myself back from the nuances for now. But
sure.
The other thing is for me, because a lot of my thinking is related to abstractions. Like I'm creating an abstraction, creating an organizational structure, creating, as opposed to the artist who works in a tangible medium. And so I'm going to check, I will check about where I am located when I'm working on abstractions. I suspect I know what that is, but I'll check that. So thank you for listening while I worked my way through thinking. Anyway, maybe we can come back to that if it's relevant for other people. But.
For sure. Yeah, are there any other experiences or realizations about your mind and its tendency?
Well, one of the things I'll mention is the disruption I can count on when I sit and try to hold, an open awareness and to be still, is the thought. And then as soon as I have it, the literal physical impulse to get up and do something. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, I need to. So it feels like, the lake is still, and then a fish jumps, and I can be halfway across the room before I go, wait a minute. What I was intending to do was to sit here and just, have my mind and body be still together. And so I suppose that's more future forward, but it feels as if I'm hooked into something I feel responsible about, and I can't unplug. from like as soon as it hooks my mind, it hooks mind and then body, and I'm jumping up to stir the pot or something on the stove.
Yeah. And the really nice thing is simply being aware of that. And it sounds like you're becoming more strongly aware of how strong that tendency is. Like it's just knee jerk, like how you put that. And before I know it, I'm halfway across the room doing what it was just hardly even a thought. It was just not even a thought. It was just automatic. This is what I do. And you're already across the room doing it. So just the awareness of how ingrained that is, how strong it is, how much it rules the whole system. That's fantastic awareness. And that's all that's needed. That clear, cogent awareness, that scientific, clear, watching, observing, just the awareness, that clear awareness starts the process of evolution, starts the process of change. It's not necessarily immediately emotionally helpful to hear that. Well, awareness is all I need. Awareness will do everything. But eventually you will see over time that really awareness is the gate, is the opening of the gate, and is the beginning of all change and all evolution.
No, and I've definitely noticed, you know, in your question of like, where are you located? If I am located lower down in my body, I can notice the thought without the impulse to act on it coming through. But when I'm up, or, you know, somewhere in my head or outside of myself, the thought, you know, it's like I become a marionette and the thought just walks me over, right?
Yeah.
And with, again, more practice and more agreeing to follow a path of awareness, again, that gets finer and finer. You start to realize those thoughts that I had that are making me, are even my thoughts? In other words, so often they're tapes, replays from childhood, from upbringing, cultural upbringing, the environment we're in. So literally, it's something on a loop. They're not free, alive thoughts. They're actually not a living hamster. The hamster's dead on the wheel, but I'm still feeding it. So you start to, again, finer and finer and finer awareness. Literally, you start to notice things like that. These aren't even my thoughts. These are my mother's words or my father's words and so on, right? Or the implicit message I picked up from my mom or my dad or both or school, just implicit, not even said to me. They're not my original thoughts. I'm either replaying them or it's my reaction to what I was picking up implicitly. So again, not free, not clear, not really here in the moment. It's these past rains that are around me. And all that can be, I've unraveled simply with commitment to awareness.